What do you think about this Joe Rogan thing going on? Have you caught up with this?
No, I've been. Here's what I've been doing. I've been reading
You've been in Canada too, so you don't know what's going on down here.
Yeah. Turned on my nerdy the NPR app this morning and was making breakfast and listening to their top 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, the fires have spread. That's really bad.
Yep. It's not good.
But what's the Joe Rogan?
So it's always kind of been bubbling on the internet for years now that people think Joe Rogan would be a good debate moderator. And then he spoke about it again on his podcast. And then he said he was like, fuck it, I'd love to do it. Me, Joe, me, Biden, Trump in a room, nobody else, 4 hours, 2 cameras, and I'll go to town on him. And then Donald Trump quote tweeted it and was like, I'm down. So all we need now is Joe Biden to get involved. But what do you think about, obviously it's a little bit far-fetched, but also there's some validity to what about having a more normal person kind of get in the mix, if you can even call Joe Rogan that. But he's not a lifelong politician. He's not, on the take, all those kind of things.
I'm still stuck on 4 hours is
that's the thing they need too. That's what Rogan does his podcast. His podcasts are insane, but 4 hours, neither of them are going to stay awake the whole time.
No, they might not stay alive the whole time.
About all of the things that I do over the course of 4 hours. And it's a lot of stuff, or it's nothing. But if it's nothing, if I'm just sitting there, then it's I don't want to talk to anybody for 4 hours. Okay, but your question is I think the reason that appeals to so many people is that people identify with Joe Rogan. There's a way that he speaks and a way that people identify with him that's different from an announcer or somebody who's if it's Fox or MSNBC, there's obviously a slant there and playing that game as opposed to somebody or a group of people even who people feel are more conversational. I think it's an interesting idea. I think that's with politics overall though, right? The idea of picking up your phone and tweeting something nasty feels so good sometimes.
Oh, the best.
It's not how the government works. Government purposely has 3 branches and bills move through and, you have to get consensus and then the Supreme Court can block or approve certain things. And all of that is very slow and can take decades on purpose. That's literally how it works. But we're in this digital age for the last 15 years and nothing else has caught up. So that debate thing is an interesting format, right?
Or at least maybe you can still do the traditional ones, but why not do an alternative one?
Right. And whether it's Joe Rogan or not, I think the point is a good one that we should find a way to mix it up a little bit.
I think you'd be good at it.
I don't know if I'd be good at it, but I'm stuck on I don't have the attention span from more than a 15-second Insta story.
Yeah.
Through them.
I don't even have that.
15 whole seconds. What are you,
I
crazy?
Don't have 15. I always just say my phone is just my thumb's treadmill. I'm not actually reading anything. I'm not actually watching anything. It's an exercise in tapping, and I'm great at it.
Our show's 21 minutes for a reason.
Yeah.
Right? It's
I just watched The Social Dilemma last night on Netflix, though, just talking about how the world and humanity is pretty much completely fucked because of technology and social media and the digital age. And when you really lay it all out like that documentary did, for all I know, that documentary is another piece of propaganda. But boy, it was scary. It was oh boy, we're in a lot of trouble.
I know it's very scary. And how about this? So as I was walking out of my apartment this morning, my girlfriend was watching Paris Hilton's documentary. And the last line I heard as we walked out was she's like, everything that you're seeing on social media is something I started. And then she kind of paused and she goes, and sometimes I'm just really scared I created a monster. And I was like, we're going to hell in a handbasket and it's Paris Hilton's fault and she feels bad about it.
She knows it. It's bad that Paris has the awareness to know, yep, I did it and it was me. Wow. What a line.
I got to get the hell out of here.
We're going to Canada.
I'm going to work at my social media company. I'll see you later.
Is it bad that makes me want to watch it?
Yeah. It was the other great line was her sister, who never does interviews or anything like that. It's I've turned these down my whole life, and I just felt like it wouldn't be authentic if I wasn't here. Because Paris, she's very glamorous, but really behind closed doors, she likes to just lay on the couch and eat leftovers and play with her dogs. She's basically Homer Simpson. And I was like, I don't think you know who Homer Simpson is.
That was a hotel heiress trying to be relatable. What's the show you guys watch? Yeah, but it is weird because it's like you're gonna do this show on freeform, but obviously the internet and social media is like such a powerful tool. But it's also like the horse is out of the barn. It's pretty much uncontrollable and unregulated, and it's gonna ruin humanity as we know it.
But that's also what they want you to think, right?
Oh, okay. Let's get the tinfoil hats. Let's go.
I mean, for real, it's of course very scary, and it's scary if we don't do anything about it. It's this idea of like look at artificial intelligence, right? If we're not gonna, you have big companies that are doing. I did this show for Amazon last year called "This Giant Beast That Is the Global Economy." We had one episode on AI. I didn't know very much about it, but I was like, this seems like a decidedly bad idea with some really good qualities in it. Like if it can cure cancer, great. But if it's going to take everybody's jobs and take over, then no. But all of the companies that are making AI are like, yeah, I mean, it's up to the government to make sure that it's properly regulated. I'm like, okay, but your company is lobbying the government to not regulate it.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate that you got your PhD in computer science and you think that that's the right thing, but literally your employer is funding that disinformation. So I think, but that's why, like, if you look at everything, voter suppression, I don't care where it happens. I don't care if it's like a Democratic primary and they're trying to suppress the vote, or if it's Republicans versus Democrats, whatever it is. The reason that shit happens is that they're scared of what happens if more of us vote.
Right.
Because if more of us vote, they're going to have to do something. The only way these people keep their jobs, whether they're on the left or the right, is by doing things that we want.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not policy experts. So if we're like, hey, I don't like this one thing, you have to come up with a solution. It's like, that's their job.
Mm-hmm.
They then need to come up with that solution. And I just think they do everything they can to sometimes make you feel like, oh, it doesn't matter. And yeah, maybe my vote doesn't make a difference. Or like, we're too far gone. The shit's done. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to make as much money as possible and die. It's like, well, you should do that. Make as much money as possible. Sure. But like, there is a role that we have to play. Don't be resigned yet.
There's a guy in that documentary from Google, and he was talking about like how he was addicted to Gmail.
In the Paris Hilton documentary?
Oh, no, in the social dilemma. Yeah. And he was like, so I like went to work the next day at Google, and he said like, why isn't anyone trying to stop this from being so addictive? And I was like, I don't think that's what they're going to do, buddy. Yeah. I don't think Google is going to try to make Gmail less addictive.
How are you addicted to email, by the way? That's crazy.
I was like, you are a loser, dude. I'm addicted to TikTok short. Gmail, you're a loser.